The valet accepts my Honda Civic keys with the same practiced smile he reserves for Mercedes and BMWs. A row of luxury cars lines the entrance to Giovanni's. Through the restaurant's glass doors, crystal glasses catch the evening light, casting prisms across pristine white tablecloths. Mother chose this place for my parents' 40th anniversary dinner. Naturally, November 15th, 2024. My parents' 40th anniversary dinner. I check my watch. 6:58 p.m. The reservation is at 7, which means Madison arrived 20 minutes early to hold court. My sister believes that arriving early and making everyone else wait is the true privilege of a leading lady. The manager glances at my simple black dress, his eyes lingering for just a moment on the scuffed practical heels. Name? Morgan. For the anniversary party. His expression shifts from polite indifference to practiced warmth. Ah yes, the Morgan celebration. Your sister mentioned you might be joining us. Might be joining. The words sink like ice in my stomach. He guides me through the dining room, past tables where conversation pauses momentarily as diners register my passage. Mother chose the back private room, sectioned off by decorative wooden screens. Madison's laughter echoes from beyond it, bright and rehearsed, like everything else about her. I round the screen, and there she is, radiant in a crimson designer dress that probably costs more than my monthly income. She sits at the center of the table, gesturing with perfectly French manicured nails as she regales my cousins with carefully curated stories. Clara, Mother's voice carries too much surprise. We were starting to worry. I check my watch again. 7:02 p.m. Madison doesn't pause her story. Doesn't glance my way. The only empty chair sits at the end of the table next to a massive potted plant that blocks half the room's view. To my right sits cousin Michael. To my left a young man who appears to be his boyfriend. How fitting. Father half rises in that automatic response men have when a woman joins the table, but settles back when he realizes it's me. Of course, everyone remembers. He waves bigly at the assembled faces. Some familiar, some not. I nod and slip into my designated exile beside the plant. The young man to my left leans over. I'm sorry, what was your name again? Clara. Clara Morgan. His brow furrows. Oh, are you related to Madison somehow? Before I can answer, a choreographed dance of white gloved hands and champagne glasses appears. The envelope in my purse feels heavier. I'd planned to present it at dessert. $60,000 saved over 7 years. Gratitude despite everything. An olive branch. A final attempt. Madison rises and the entire room tilts toward her like flowers following the sun. She raises her glass, diamond tennis bracelet catching the light. To Walter and Linda Morgan, her voice carries perfectly, each word crafted for maximum impact. Thank you for raising the most wonderful only child anyone could ask for. 35 years of existence erased in an instant. The silence that follows isn't the shocked kind. No one gasps. No one looks at me. No one corrects her. Mother and Father beam, raising their glasses in approval. Uncle Dennis starts to shift in his seat, but Aunt Carol's hand stills his arm. Memories surface. Missing my 7th grade concert while they fussed over Madison's costume fitting. Watching from my window as they forgot to wake me for the special occasion dress shopping trip. Scanning the audience at honor roll night, finding only empty seats where my parents should have been. But Aunt Carol was there. Smiling and waving, Uncle Dennis beside her with his trusty camera. The boyfriend leans over again. I'm sorry, what was your name again? My hands are steady as I reach for my purse. The envelope inside is thick cream paper, expensive, solid, and real. I'd chosen it carefully to make the presentation perfect. Finally make them proud. Finally prove I was worth noticing. The room continues its usual orbit around Madison. No heads turn as I stand. No conversation stops. I drift through their celebration like a ghost. Unnoticed. But for the first time, that invisibility feels like armor instead of a wound. With measured steps, I walk to Aunt Carol and Uncle Dennis, eating slightly apart from the main group as they always do. Aunt Carol looks up, her kind eyes widening slightly as I place the envelope before her. "This belongs to you," I say in a quiet but clear voice. The room falls silent. Conversations drop away one by one like stones into still water. Madison's laugh cuts off mid-note. Mother's fork clatters against her plate. Aunt Carol's hand reaches toward the envelope with a slight tremor. "Clara, what is this?" "Open it later." I smile, small and genuine. Real warmth bleeding into my voice for the two people who truly seen me these 35 years. "When you get home." Uncle Dennis's weathered hand covers mine briefly. Such a fatherly gesture that my throat tightens. I turn and walk away before tears can surface. Past Madison's perfect posture, Mother's frozen smile, Father's carefully blank expression. At some invisible signal, the manager appears with my coat. As he helps me into it, I catch my reflection in the window. For the first time in years, I'm standing straight. Behind me, the shock finally begins to sink in. Chairs scraping against floor. Madison's voice rising sharp and confused. Mother calling my name, her tone shifting from surprise to command. I step into the cool Connecticut evening. And for the first time in 35 years, I don't look back. 2 hours later, my phone screen glows with 17 missed calls in the dawn light. Timestamps marching backward through the night. 6:47 a.m., 4:12 a.m., 2:35 a.m., 11:52 p.m. Voicemails pile up like winter kindling. Looking at my phone, I felt the freedom of not responding for the first time. I leave them unplayed, watching steam rise from my morning tea. The first message breaks through at exactly 8 a.m. Father's voice carries that special coldness he reserves for business adversaries and disappointing children. "You have embarrassed this family." 4 words. Then silence. No goodbye. Mother takes longer to mount her attack. Her message exceeds the 3-minute limit, words tumbling out in practiced anguish. "How could you hurt us like this? You know how much we've sacrificed for you." Familiar guilt rises in my throat, but something else rises with it. Something strange and wild and light. Madison waits until noon. Her text arrives with surgical precision. A screenshot from 3 years ago. Words I'd written to Aunt Carol in a moment of raw honesty about feeling overwhelmed. Sometimes I want to scream. Until they see me. Until they remember I exist. Madison's message follows. "Clearly you've been unstable for a long time. We're all very concerned." I block her number. Then my parents. Silence fills my apartment like sunlight. The first box arrived in March during midterm studying. Mother knocked once and pushed open my bedroom door without waiting for an answer. "Clara, we need somewhere to store Madison's debate trophies. You don't mind if we put them here, do you?" Without waiting for an answer, she began arranging gleaming gold figures on my bookshelf. Afternoon light caught each engraved plate. Madison Morgan First Place. Madison Morgan Excellence Award. Madison Morgan Rising Star. My design textbooks went into cardboard boxes under the bed. Temporarily, Mother said, though we both knew better. By May, Madison's debate team photos decorated my walls. June brought her honor roll certificates. August brought a desk installation for when Madison wants to study somewhere quiet. The fact that I studied in this room seemed irrelevant. When I announced my acceptance to Rhode Island School of Design, Mother was refolding Madison's laundry. Father didn't look up from his newspaper, muttering, "Hope it helps with the tuition bills." Practicality. That was Father's version of affection. "That's nice, dear," Mother said, smoothing invisible wrinkles from a cashmere sweater. "Did you hear Madison got promoted?" Junior VP of Communications at 25. Youngest in company history. The Morgan family photo wall told our story in careful chronology. Madison's first steps. Madison's dance recitals. Madison's graduations. I appeared in Christmas photos, always slightly off-center, usually half hidden behind uncles or cousins. In the rare solo shots, my smile looked uncertain, as if I wasn't sure I belonged in the frame. But 3 hours away in a modest ranch house with wind chimes on the porch, a different collection was growing. Aunt Carol kept scrapbooks. My first watercolor exhibition at the community center, a small affair, but she drove through a snowstorm to attend. The local paper's article about my internship at Preston Design. Business cards from my first freelance jobs. Look what came in the mail, she'd say during our weekly calls. The sound of newspaper clippings shuffling carried through the phone line. She'd read each one aloud, her voice warming with pride. Did you see this? The Portland home and garden feature on your sunroom renovation. I hadn't seen it. Mother subscribed to that magazine. Uncle Dennis taught me to change a tire on a sweltering Saturday, when my parents took Madison College shopping. Everyone should know this, he said, demonstrating proper jack placement. Your father should have taught you years ago. The next weekend, he helped me open my first investment account. The month after that, he explained compound interest and the importance of emergency funds. Financial independence, he said, tapping his calculator, means you don't have to depend on anyone else's approval. I began saving carefully from that day, my 28th birthday. Extra clients, weekend consultations, every spare dollar went into a dedicated account. $60,000 over 7 years. A thank you to the parents who gave me life, even if they rarely noticed how I lived it. Aunt Carol calls at 2 p.m. Her voice is shaking. We haven't opened it yet, if you want us to. Words come easily now. Clara, honey. Rustling sounds. Then Uncle Dennis in the background. More rustling. A sharp intake of breath. This is $60,000. Yes. We didn't do anything to deserve this. My finger traces the rim of my empty teacup. You loved me. That was enough. But if you'd allow us, Aunt Carol's voice turns thoughtful. We could use this money to help young designers like you. A scholarship of sorts. The idea spreads warm through my chest. That's a wonderful idea. Silence stretches between us. Warm, honest silence. Then Aunt Carol's voice changes. Madison sent me something. A text you wrote. My hand still's on the cup. I remember. I meant every word, I say. I was drowning in silence. You two were the only ones who heard my voice. A sound between laughter and sob. We always heard your voice, sweetheart. That night I sleep without dreams for the first time in years. The morning brings sharp clarity, like winter sunlight. In the mirror, I discovered something had changed in myself. I sit at my desk, fingers hovering over the keyboard. The letter forms itself. Dear Mother and Father, I release you from the obligation to explain or defend my existence. I release myself from the burden of proving I deserve to take up space in this world. Please don't contact me anymore. I wish you peace, but I'm done pretending. Clara, the send button clicks with finality. I stand and walk to my living room wall, where family photos hang in careful arrangement. Mother smiles from behind glass, Madison glowing beside her. My own face appears at the edges, half cut from special moments. Frames come down one by one. My phone rings. A client from the Victorian renovation I'd been working on for 6 months. A job turning outdated rooms into living spaces. Her voice carries wonder. Clara, I walked through the house for the first time since you finished. It finally feels like home. Home. The word echoes through me. I wrap the family photos in newspaper. They'll go to the attic. Preserved but no longer defining my present. The next morning, an invitation to Cousin Sarah's baby shower arrives. My finger finds the decline button without hesitation. No excuses. No apologies. Just unable to attend. Best wishes for the new arrival. A weight lifts from my shoulders so suddenly I gasped. Years of carefully crafted explanations. of making myself smaller to fit family expectations disappear in 2 sentences. A text appears from cousin James. Heard something weird happened at dinner. You okay? I stare at those 3 words. You okay? Automatic responses form, find deletes. Everything's great deletes. No, I'm not okay, but I will be sends. Truth sits strange and wonderful on my tongue. I bring that certainty to my next client meeting. A young couple wants to renovate their first home. The wife speaks tentatively about colors, glancing at her husband for approval. I recognize the familiar dance of my 23-year-old self. Permission slips still clogging her vocabulary. Tell me about your perfect space, I say. Not what you think you should want, but what makes your heart feel at home. Her eyes light up. For the next hour, she paints with words. Rich jewel tones, warm woods, spaces that wrap around you like an embrace. Her husband watches her with growing amazement. I sketch as she talks, letting her vision flow through my pencil. When I turn the paper toward them, she covers her mouth. That's exactly what I see in my head. How did you know? Because you told me, I answer, surprising myself with the certainty. Beautiful things happen when we stop apologizing for our truth. That evening, I update my portfolio website. No more safe beiges or cautious designs. I fill the pages with my boldest work. A sunroom blooming with stained glass light. A library with secret reading nooks. A kitchen where 3 generations now gather to bake holiday cookies. Spaces that tell stories. Spaces that see people. My phone chimes with a text from Aunt Carol. Scholarship paperwork is ready. Do you really want your name on it? I think of future students feeling unseen, finding proof that being noticed matters. That quiet truths deserve celebration. Yes, my name belongs there. The sun sets behind Portland's winter trees. Outside my window, each one finding its place, like me. Tonight, I draw my own story too. I take out my sketchbook and open to a fresh page. Tonight, I design something just for myself. Something that speaks in my voice without translation or apology. Pencil moves across paper, creating a room filled with light. 2 weeks later, Uncle Dennis is the first to spot their car in early December. Linda and Walter, he says from the kitchen window, pausing his weathered hands from the tomato plants he'd been pruning. Aunt Carol's spoon clatters against the mixing bowl, but she continues stirring banana bread batter. Their Mercedes glides into the gravel driveway. No advance notice, Aunt Carol mutters as she slides the bowl onto the counter. That's new. Through the window, they watch Linda emerge from the passenger seat wearing a ST. John knit suit despite the chilly Sunday afternoon. Walter follows, gripping a leather portfolio like a shield. Aunt Carol wipes her hands on her apron, maintaining the same gentle tone she uses with agitated horses at the animal rescue where she volunteers. Ready? Uncle Dennis nods, standing beside her. The gesture stretches his John Deere t-shirt across shoulders still strong from decades of actual labor. The doorbell rings. When Aunt Carol opens it, Linda's smile is brittle. We need to discuss Clara's episode. Please come in. Aunt Carol's voice maintains that same gentle tone she uses with agitated horses at the animal rescue where she volunteers. Walter settles into their worn plaid armchair, his posture rigid against the comfortable cushions. Linda perches on the edge of the sofa, brushing invisible dust from her sleeve. The money needs to be returned, Walter announces without preamble. For family harmony. Uncle Dennis crosses his arms over his chest, the gesture stretching his John Deere t-shirt across shoulders still strong from decades of actual labor. We don't take from family. His voice carries the quiet certainty of a man who taught high school physics for 40 years. But we do accept gifts. Linda's fingers twist her pearl necklace. You don't understand what this is doing to Madison. She's devastated. I can imagine, Aunt Carol says, settling into her rocking chair. The wood creaks, a sound that has comforted countless family gatherings. Truth often has that effect. Walter slams his portfolio onto the coffee table, sending Aunt Carol's latest Better Homes and Gardens sliding to the floor. We've prepared documentation. Clara's behavior has been concerning. Has it? Uncle Dennis retrieves the magazine, smoothing its pages with careful hands. From where we sit, she's never been clearer. The lawyer's letter arrives 3 days later. Heavy cream paper carrying veiled suggestions about Clara's mental state when making the gift. Aunt Carol reads it twice, then files it carefully in the folder, where she's kept all of Clara's cards and programs from events over the years. Madison's campaign begins subtly. Facebook posts about supporting loved ones through difficult times. Comments flood in asking what's wrong, allowing Madison to spin her narrative of concern. "I'm just worried about Clara," she says at coffee with cousin Sarah at the country club, her voice carrying to adjacent tables. "She's always been sensitive. Remember when she missed my high school graduation? Mother tried so hard to help, but you know how Clara gets." The truth, that Clara was in the emergency room with appendicitis while Aunt Carol held her hand, doesn't fit Madison's story. Within the week, a third of Clara's clients voice concerns. Not just Mrs. Whitman, but the Johnsons who'd planned renovations cancel until family matters are resolved. Madison's voice carried farther than expected. Mrs. Whitman, one of the few remaining clients, brings it up casually. "Your sister called. She's so worried about you, dear." Said something about unstable behavior. Clara sets down her fabric samples. "Mrs. Whitman, would you say my work has been unstable?" The older woman looks around her half-finished sunroom, where Clara's design has transformed a dark space into a symphony of light and comfort. "No," she says slowly. "Actually, you're the most reliable professional I've ever worked with. Then let's focus on finding the perfect fabric for that window seat." But surprisingly, new clients began seeking her out after reading the Coastal Living article. People looking for authenticity, choosing to trust Clara's work over Madison's fabrications. "I don't want show house shine," one tells her. "Just real homes for real people." Clara's phone buzzes constantly with messages from family members choosing sides. She lets them pile up unread. Her social media stays quiet. No defensive posts, no public battles. She posts only her work, before and after photos, design tips, client testimonials. Surprises come in small ways. Rachel's text. "Family split in half. But people who know the truth are here." A short card from father's roommate. "Always saw your talent." A message from a second cousin. "They did the same thing to my mother. Call if you need to talk." Friday, a student from the local design school appears at her office. "Mrs. Peterson said you might mentor me." Clara recognizes Aunt Carol's handwriting in the girl's reference materials, sees her younger self in those hopeful eyes. "Tell me about your dreams." Clara pulls up a chair. 3 weeks later, a silver Lexus sits in my driveway like an accusation. Father Walter and Mother Linda wait on my front porch with perfect posture, as if they belong there. Winter sun catches Mother Linda's pearl necklace, casting small rainbows across the weathered wood siding of the house they've never bothered to visit before. My fingers tighten on the steering wheel. Their presence feels like an invasion, especially with a manila envelope gripped in Father Walter's manicured hands. I've seen enough family photos over the years to recognize a manipulation attempt when I see one. Something shifts in my chest. Not fear or anger, but a strange calm. I park beside their car, noting the Connecticut plates that mean they've driven 4 hours. The fact that they finally made an effort would have meant everything 3 months ago. "Clara." Mother Linda steps forward with arms spread for an embrace that will never come. "We've been so worried." I unlock my front door, considering my options. The Clara they remember would have stood on the porch, letting January wind steal her warmth while they wrote the script. But that Clara doesn't live here anymore. "You can come in for 30 minutes, I say, keeping my voice steady. "I have a client appointment at 3. The lie settles strategically between us. They know it's Sunday, but they follow me anyway. because the alternative is admitting they've driven this far for nothing. For the first time, I'm setting the terms of our conversation. My living room greets them with warm cream walls and carefully chosen furniture, each piece selected to create the sense of home I'd never felt in my own house. Mother Linda's eyes linger on original artwork, hand-knotted rugs, custom bookshelves. Her lips purse as she calculates, searching for evidence of financial instability. Would you like tea? I move toward the kitchen without waiting for an answer. The ritual of measuring leaves, warming the pot, selecting cups becomes a small act of control. They can't begin their performance until I return with the tray. We brought something we want you to see. Father Walter's voice carries that familiar stern tone, the one that used to make me shrink into myself. He spreads photographs across my coffee table like playing cards in a game I've grown tired of. Mother Linda settles on the edge of my sofa, hands clasped. We've been thinking so much about family, about healing, sweetheart. The water boils. I pour it over the leaves, watching them unfurl. 3 minutes to steep. Silence stretches. Mother Linda continues, her voice trembling. Carol said you won't take our calls. After everything we've done for you. When was the last time you called just to ask how I was doing? The question glides out quietly, riding the steam from the teapot. Mother Linda blinks. Father Walter shifts in his seat. I set the tray on my coffee table, pushing their perfect photographs aside to make room. Not when you needed something. Not when Madison told you to check on me. Just to ask how I was doing. Now, Clara, that's not fair. Father Walter's finger taps the manila envelope. We've always supported you. Look at these. Your 5th birthday party, the family trip to Cape Cod, your high school graduation. I reach for my bag still sitting by the door. The calendar I pull out is worn at the edges, marked with sticky notes and color tabs. May 15th, 2009. My first design showcase. URSVP, yes. Carol drove 3 hours to be there. Each word falls like stones into still water. December 3rd, 2012. Emergency appendectomy. The nurse asked 5 times if there was anyone else to call besides Carol. I placed my old hospital bracelet beside their perfect photographs. You forgot. My voice stays level as my hands shake slightly while pouring tea. Not just once, every day. You were always difficult. The words explode from Father Walter, shattering their careful script. Always so sensitive, so demanding. Your sister never. I wasn't difficult. My voice remained steady despite my hand's slight tremor. I just wasn't Madison. Mother Linda's tears flow now. Real tears. But not from love for her daughter, from despair over lost control. She mourned not my pain, but the collapse of the perfect family image she'd built over 35 years. Her fingers clutch her necklace as if it might anchor her to the reality she thought she knew. Please, Clara, her voice cracks. We can fix this. Go to counseling together. Learn better communication, so you can learn to behave appropriately too. The last words revealed her true intentions. Not therapy, my correction. Madison isn't here today. I stand and move toward the door. This is my house. And I'm asking you to leave. Ungrateful. Father Walter starts to rise, but Mother Linda's hand on his arm stops him. Father's face reddens, fists clenching. For the first time in 35 years, I see his true feelings. Not love, but an obsession with control. Expected returns on his investment in me. He closes his mouth, sinking into his chair under the weight of defeat. Silence fills my living room like morning fog, heavy with the weight of things we'll never say. Mother Linda gathers their photographs with trembling fingers. Father Walter's hand grips and releases the manila envelope he never opened. They walk to their car under winter sun, casting long shadows across my driveway. The same sun that rose this morning on a daughter. They thought they could still control sets on a woman they never really knew. I close the door to the sound of their engine starting. My tea has gone cold, but I drink it anyway. It tastes like truth, not bitterness. Frames on my walls hold new memories now. Aunt Carol and Uncle Dennis at my first Christmas in Maine. Friends who became family gathered in my garden. Photos of spaces I've designed that tell stories. A small sign on my desk reads, "Home is where stories begin." Mine begins here. In the silence after the storm, where peace tastes like cold tea and victory feels like finally exhaling. A month later, the scents of cinnamon and pine needles embrace me as I step into Aunt Carol and Uncle Dennis's house. Handmade ornaments from the 1970s dangle from a slightly crooked Christmas tree. Construction paper angels with cotton ball beards, plastic reindeer spray painted gold, wooden clothespins transformed into nutcrackers. No color-coordinated themes or professional decorator's touch. Just a collection of memories hung with love over 40 years. Clara. Aunt Carol's laughter bubbles from the kitchen, accompanied by the rattle of cookie sheets and the warm scent of ginger. Taste these before Dennis eats them all. Uncle Dennis appears in the doorway, flannel shirt scattered with cookie crumbs. "I'm quality control," he announces with mock solemnity, crow's feet crinkling with laughter. He pulls me into a hug that smells of wood smoke and wintergreen lifesavers. The kitchen counter overflows with mismatched plates of snickerdoodles and thumbprint cookies. The radio plays Bing Crosby, crackling and perfect. Aunt Carol hasn't bothered with makeup. Silver hair escapes her clip as she rolls out another batch of dough. "Your portfolio's on the coffee table," Uncle Dennis says, settling into his worn leather armchair. Young couple from church stopped by yesterday. Their daughter graduates design school in May. His voice carries quiet pride. "Wanted to show them what real talent looks like." My throat tightens. I remember being that student, full of dreams and doubt, wondering if I was good enough. But unlike my story, this young woman has people who believe in her. Aunt Carol wipes flour from her hands and joins us, settling on the sofa arm. "We officially established the scholarship, Clara." She exchanges a glance with Uncle Dennis. "The Clara Morgan Design Scholarship." Warmth blooms in my chest. "Actually, I want to be actively involved." I lean forward. "Not just in selection, but as a mentor too. I want to help make the invisible visible." Aunt Carol's eyes shine. "I was hoping you'd say that. I was invisible for so long. But now I want to help others become seen." Her hand finds mine. "I thought you'd want to pay it forward." The room blurs. Uncle Dennis clears his throat. "If it's difficult, we don't have to use your name." I squeeze Aunt Carol's fingers, remembering all the times she showed up when no one else did, all the ways small kindnesses accumulated into love. "I want my name on it," I whisper. I'm not hiding anymore. The scholarship announcement runs in Tuesday's local paper. The Carol and Dennis Peterson Design Scholarship, established in honor of Clara Morgan, provides annual support to emerging artists and designers showing exceptional promise. I read the notice over morning tea, sunlight streaming through my apartment windows. My calendar notification chimes. Christmas with Aunt Carol and Uncle Dennis, my design schedule fills steadily. Historic farmhouse renovations, first homes for young families, waterfront cottages being transformed for retirement. Each project chosen for substance over flash, each client seeking something authentic. Late that night, my phone lights up with a text from Sarah, one of my new clients. Her design consultation reminded me of my 23-year-old self, talented but uncertain, speaking awkwardly about colors while glancing at her husband for approval. "Is it okay if it's not too much trouble?" I text back, "Your instincts are right. Trust them." 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Finally, "Thank you for seeing me." The words hit like physical touch. I look around my apartment. Photos fill the walls. Aunt Carol and Uncle Dennis at my first gallery show. Friend Marcus and his husband at their housewarming surrounded by built-ins I designed. Sarah's preliminary sketches pinned beside paint samples and fabric swatches. The phone rings. Cousin Rachel, one who chose to maintain contact despite the family's unofficial embargo. "Just checking in," she says. No pressure, no agenda, just connection. Aunt Carol's question from dinner echoes in my mind. Any regrets? I look out the window. Snow falls in lazy spirals, each flake visible in my porch light's glow. Tomorrow I'll have coffee with Sarah, then stop by the local design college to mentor winter graduates. Next week, Aunt Carol and Uncle Dennis will help me host my New Year's open house. Nothing fancy, just good food and better company. No regrets at all, I'd answered Aunt Carol. I didn't walk away from family. I walked toward it. The truth of those words settles into my bones like warmth. A real family bound not by blood, but by choice existed here. Laughter that wasn't bruised by comparison or competition lived here. I see myself finally, moving through my life with quiet confidence. My apartment's silence wraps around me like a beloved blanket. No performance required. No constant vigilance. No need to make myself smaller to fit someone else's story. I water the herbs on my windowsill. Basil, thyme, rosemary. Plants Aunt Carol helped me choose when I first moved. Their scent fills the morning air, honest and green and alive. My phone lights up with another message from Mother. I watch it fade to black without reading it. Truth sits in my chest solid and warm like a river stone. Some forms of peace can only be found on the other side of no. 3 months later, a Portland Design Review article lies open on my desk. Morgan's honest, unpretentious aesthetic breathes new life into historic spaces. Her designs give the feeling of coming home. New clients seek me out specifically for my authenticity. I don't want show house shine, one tells me. Just real homes for real people. Outside my window, spring returns to Portland streets. Cherry blossoms dance in the wind, carrying promises of new seasons. My latest project, a young couple's historic farmhouse renovation, finishes next month. They chose me because you listen to our story. Snow begins falling outside my window, each flake finding its perfect place. Like me, I take out my sketchbook and open to a fresh page. For 35 years, I lived according to blueprints of others' expectations. Tonight I designed something just for myself. Something that speaks in my voice without translation or apology. Pencil moves across paper. A room filled with light emerges. Reading nooks and gathering spaces and room for creation. Home. Finally drawing home in the truest sense. Snow continues falling, each flake finding its perfect place in the gathering dusk. Like me, they need no permission to be exactly where they belong. I am seen now. I see myself now. And that is enough.